Hi and welcome to Literary Hype. I am Stephanie, your Literary Hype Woman. It's the end of the year, so I guess it's time to reflect on things. So one of the ways that I'm going to reflect on 2023 is to break down my list of the top 20 books that I read in 2023. It was so hard to narrow this list down to 20. I read well over 110 books. So that's a lot of books that I loved that did not get to be on this list. And ranking them, I rearranged this list a good 10-15 times. And I'm still not entirely sure that it is exactly what I want it to be, but it's close enough that I'm gonna go with it. But just keep in mind that there are a lot of books that I read this year that I love that did not, that just fell off the list, and it makes me really sad. But without further ado, here is my top 20 of 2023. Coming in at number 20 is This Time It's Real by Anne Liang. This is a fake dating a celebrity YA novel, and I flew through this so fast. I was kind of surprised. Like, I normally read about a page a minute, and I was reading this doing sprints on Kim's channel, and I was getting like 50 to 60 pages in 30 minutes as opposed to my usual 30 to 35, so I was flying through this. It just got me and my attention. It was the right read for the right time, and I just loved it. So number 20. And at number 19 on my list is a frequent guest of the Literary Hype channel and my news projects before that, and that is Dr. Travis Langley and his book Spider-Man Psychology: Untangling Webs. As you can see, there are a lot of tabs in this book. I really love what he does in taking something, a character or a show or something in pop culture, and using it to help break down psychological concepts and like kind of explore why characters do things, why we love things about certain characters. It's really fascinating. It is way more entertaining than a textbook. I really love this series, and he did have three out this year, but this one was my favorite. So 19. Now if you've been around this channel, you know I don't typically read or review indie books. It's nothing against indie authors. I love them, love what they're doing, keep going. I just work in a traditional bookstore and I need to stay on top of the product that we're selling. So I have to prioritize what I need to know for work. And so this book is one that snuck in because I initially, when I first started reading this author, did not know she was an indie, and at this point I'm in too deep. I'm in too deep. So that is Kilt to Order by Susanna Nix. This is the first in a series, but it's a spin-off of a series I was already reading. So it just goes like that. And it's like a really big bookwormy girl and a Highland Games guy who's also a firefighter. And you know, it's just a really good time. This is another one that I flew through. I can't wait for the next one in the series. I can't wait for the next one in the King Creamery series. I just need more Susanna Nix books in my life. So coming in at number 18 is Kilt to Order. Number 17 on my list this year is Knockout by Sarah MacLean. This is the third book in the Hell's Bells series, and I have loved all of them. Women kind of behaving slightly scandalous for their historical time period, you know, to do good for their community and help women and solve crimes, and I just love it. So it's romance, it's a little mystery, it's a good daggum time. As Sarah likes to say, if someone's gonna get punched justifiably in the face, it's gonna happen in one of her books. So this one's about Imogen. She's the explosives expert in the group, and her romance with the police officer from Scotland Yard. It's an inspector. It's such a good time. I love Imogen. She's my favorite of this series so far. I just love her. She's so smart. I love her. That's all I got. I just love Imogen. Number 16 is Lunar Love by Lauren Kung Jessen. This book is about a woman who is taking over her family business of a Chinese zodiac matchmaking company, and finds out that there's an app that's also going to be using that information to help match people, and so she kind of decides to to take it on herself to go end this guy, but also there's some sparks. So it's a really good time. I enjoyed it. It came out in January and I didn't get around to reading it until November, I think. November, December. Months all blur together at this point. Anyways, but I really enjoyed this one. I blew through it pretty quickly, and I'm very eagerly awaiting Lauren's next book. Coming in at number 15 is another frequent guest of the Literary Hype YouTube show. I guess it's frequent. It's been twice, and she's got 2 books, so this is her second book. And that is The Deja Glitch by Holly James. This one is a different take on a time loop story, because you're normally following the person who's in the time loop and they're trying to escape it. But this is someone who doesn't know they're in the time loop is who we're following. And the guy is the one stuck in the time loop and comes to her. So, and it's set in, like, she's involved in radio, and so there's music industry stuff. Really epic scenes toward the end. Just loved it. This one's so much fun. So, The Deja Glitch by Holly James. Number 14 is How I'll Kill You by Ren DeStefano. This one is just so much fun. It's a little ridiculous, but also it's just really fun. It's about 3 triplets, identical triplets, who are serial killers. And they like hunt a man down, and at this time we're following one who is getting her first kill, and so she's got to plot it out. But also she kind of likes the guy, so what's she gonna do? How's it gonna... It was an adventure. Serial killer triplets. Like, I mean, how could you not enjoy the crap out of that? Coming in at number 13 is Champion of Fate by Kendara Blake. I've been following Kendara's career for the last few years since the 3 Dark Crowns series, but now she's starting a new series, and that is Champion of Fate. This is the first one in it, and she describes it as Amazon Jedi, was how she kind of referred to this book, well, before it had an actual title. So it's about an orphan who kind of gets adopted into this league that's kind of similar to the Amazon, got Amazon vibes, where it's all women and they're out here to protect, and they are the hero makers. So they get assigned to someone who has greatness in them and glory, can achieve glory, and they get to help guide them toward that glory. And they're immortal, and their horses are immortal. So it's a really good time. This is the one that got me over my Iron Flame reading slump. Like, this was like the first one I actually wanted to continue with. So that gets it some really high mark. Number 12 for my 2023 reads is To Die Beautiful by Buzzy Jackson. This is about Hani Schaft, who was a Dutch resistance fighter during World War II. Hani was a real person who really did do a lot of these things, but there wasn't a lot written in her voice or in kind of any interviews or anything like that. So Buzzy is a historian, and she did all this research and really crafted a deep story around what Hani could have been thinking, and it's so good. The details are great. Man, it's a good one. And the way she captures being a redhead, I appreciated it. Number 11 is The 100 Loves of Juliet by Evelyn Skye. This is kind of time traveler's wife meets Romeo and Juliet, which is what, when she said that, that's what really raised my little radar. So the concept is, what if Shakespeare got it wrong and Romeo didn't die, but Juliet did, and so Romeo is cursed to keep finding every reincarnation of Juliet, fall in love with her, and watch her die over and over and over again. So this is like part historical fiction with Shakespeare and romance, and then there's some other shenanigans going on, and a little magic in there. It's just a treat, and Evelyn's writing is so lush and beautiful, and just, I just love it so much. It's such a good time. It's a very emotional journey, and when you know Evelyn's story, which if you don't, check out my interview with her, and where she explains kind of what really led to the heart of this story, and it's so freaking good. Number 11, The 100 Loves of Juliet. Time for the top 10! Picking these top 10 was so hard. It was so hard, guys. Ugh. Coming in at number 10 is Tilly in Technicolor by Maisie Eddings. I love her writing so much. She really does write for the neurospicy people. She's autistic and has ADHD, so she really writes from a brain space of thinking a little bit differently and kind of perceiving the world in different ways. And so that is 100% what's going on in Tilly in Technicolor. Tilly's on her way to Europe to do an internship at a nail polish company. She's very ADHD, and she's on a plane with a guy who's got autism, and things don't exactly go very well off the start, only for them to the next day find out that they're both interning with the nail polish company, and they've got to spend the entire summer traipsing around Europe together. It's so cute. It's just, oh man, it's such an adventure, and I love Maisie's writing. It's just so good. Tilly in Technicolor, number 10. Coming in at number 9 is The Spinster's Guide to Danger and Dukes by Amanda Collins. This is the third book in the series. Third book. This is another like historical mystery romance blend. That's really my, apparently that's really my jam. I don't know, who knew? But this one sucks you in so hard. Like I took this to Emerald City Comic Con. I planned for this to be the one book I read in between things. I almost finished it on the flight there. And then I finished it at the bar below my Airbnb very quickly after that. So it did not last me very long at all. It does have some really fun spicy scenes in a cave. You're welcome. Definitely check this out. So it's the most spicy in the series by far, but it's so much fun. So A Spinster's Guides to Danger and Dukes. Number 8 is A Holly Jolly Ever After by Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy. If you've been around here a minute, you know I was like kind of obsessed with the first one. It's so funny and so raunchy. It's a delight. So getting to return to Christmas Notch once again for the second book in this trilogy, plus the 2 novellas. It's so much fun. So this is like a Mandy Moore-esque character coming out of purity culture and a second guy from the boy band. And they've got some past, and she's gotta learn how to do spicy movies. And deal with her family's criticism of it. Whew! This is everything you would want from it. It's Sierra Simone's spice and kind of religious commentary, as well as Julie Murphy's humor, and it's just, and Julie got to write some of the spicy scenes this time, so. Number 8. I feel like I'm getting increasingly unhinged as I go through this list because I just keep getting more and more excited. Whoops. This is literary hype, so you should expect me to be a little bit unhinged. It's fine. Number 7 is another one I read earlier in the year to be part of the C2E2 book club, which was put on by Source Books. So Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. This one's for the Twilight girlies. This is a mystery thriller for the Twilight girlies. This is about a woman who she's the pastor's daughter, the preacher's daughter, in a small town in Louisiana. And a skull is found in the swamp, and she might know a little something about how it got there. And there's a lot to unpack in this one. This is the one that I was reading the ending on during sprints, and I was just like, and I didn't want to stop. It's billed as Where the Crawdads Sing meets Twilight, because there's a lot of Twilight references. It's straight up a lot of Twilight. Twilight plays a big part in this story. And then with like some Thelma and Louise vibes. It's such a good one, guys. I just love it so much. Give me more, Ashley Winstead. Give me more. And then tell me the truth of this ending, because I need to know. Number 6 for me is one that is not out in 2023. This comes out in 2024 in February, and I cannot wait for the world to get their hands on this. This also feels very Twilight-y. It's like Twilight grown up. something like that. It is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So this is a, oh guys, just get it. Just go freaking buy it as soon as it's out. This is about a vampire in a marriage of convenience with the alpha of the werewolf pack. And she's kind of like, her dad is high up on the vampire side of things. So she goes into enemy territory to be a wife, to kind of secure some peace around the area, but she's got some motives. And did I mention this is an Ali Hazelwood? So, you know, you've got your enemies to lovers, you've got your only one bed situation. You know what you're getting out of this because it is an Ali Hazelwood book, but it's just next level. It is so ridiculous and I loved every minute of it. I blew through this so fast. So number 6 is Bride by Ali Hazelwood, out in February. Top 5. You know it's a good book if you can't stop thinking about it for a very long time, and like the collective book talk, bookstagram, booktube world could not stop thinking about this book for a very long time. So number 5 is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I don't even know what to say about this book. All I can really say about this is that give me book 3 already. I can't really say much about it without spoilers. And I don't really like to do spoilers. So this is continuing the journey of Violet and Xaden. And after they learn some big things. And there's a lot more big things that they learn in this one. I kind of want to go to Basgiath and ride a dragon. But like not do all the other things. Like to earn a dragon, I just want to go ride one. So it should come as no surprise if Iron Flame is number 5, that number 4 would be Fourth Wing. I do think Fourth Wing is better than Iron Flame. Yes, I'm gonna stick with that. Fourth Wing is better than Iron Flame. I did have some issues with the writing of it, which is why it is not higher on my list. Why both of these are not higher on my list. Had there been some better writing style, they would have been higher. But I mean, this captured the whole freaking world. So there's no way it could not be in the top 5. But yeah, so Violet, going off to dragon military training. Fourth Wing. Coming in at number 3 on my list of the best books I read in 2023 is one that I actually kind of slept on. I got this arc in 2022 and I did not read it until November of 2023, in which I became obsessed. And I've already purchased book 2. I'm very excited. But that is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Like, I had this signed for months. Like, I got it at YALLFest, and then when it came out, I went on her book tour and saw her and got it signed and still hadn't read it. And then it still sat on my shelf for months. And I finally read it now. I'm very excited to get to book 2. It's so good. It's just kind of a journalistic enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers, but in a kind of historical setting. So it's kind of late 1800s, I think it's 1800, late 1800s, mid 1800s is when this is set. But there's the fantastical element of it being like there's a war between the gods going on, and these typewriters send letters between the 2 rivals into their closets. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on that. So, Divine Rivals, number 3 of my 2023 list. My second favorite book of 2023 is a debut author named Julie Soto, and her book Forget Me Not. This is this has got like all the tropes. If you want enemies to lovers, it's in there. You want second chance, it's in there. You want a florist and a wedding planner, so there's weddings and there's influencers and grumpy sunshine and just all the things. I planned to read this for like an hour just to get started, and then I was gonna go do other things, and I finished the book in like 4 hours and totally forgot that I had cooked that night. So my food sat out. Yep. That's how into this book I was. And like, I started flagging stuff and then was so into it I forgot to even pause to flag little marks. Forget Me Not, Julie Soto, number 2 of 2023. And now for my favorite book of 2023, which was a very hard decision because that top 5 is all very much so right neck and neck. They were all very big parts of my year. But number 1 is the love letter to fangirls that I have been putting in customers' hands nonstop ever since I could put it in their hands and it hit the shelves. And that is The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. So if you read Soulmate Equation, this follows Fizzy. So she's the best friend in Soulmate Equation. Now she gets her own story. She's a romance writer. She is a lover of all things fandom. She's a big boy bander fan. Fizzy is a lot of us. Like, there's so much of fangirl in Fizzy that, like, if you're a fangirl, you're gonna identify with at least something in her story. And if you love romance, even more so, because she kind of goes through it just because she's a romance writer. But she gets cast on a reality dating show and has to go through that whole thing. All the while, there's a really hot British single dad producer who's just delightful. But he also doesn't quite get the whole romancy thing. So he's got a lot to learn, and Fizzy is a great person to teach him, and this is such a love letter to fangirls and fandom and just being true to yourself and loving what you love, which is something I really think more people need to do. Love what you love. Stop using the phrase guilty pleasure. Love what you love. Love it without abandon. Just go for it. Go dive into the things you love. And so that's kind of the vibe of this book. And it just gets me. Plus, they had a comment about booksellers. We love you. May your skin always be clear and you fly through the Ticketmaster queues. And I kid you not, a couple days after I read that, I was in the queue for Sugar tickets and I got them, even though it was chaos and I didn't have to pay $1,000 for a ticket. So shout out to Christina and Lauren for the love. So that is my 2023 best books that I read for the year. That was a really hard list to put together because it was such a good reading year for me. I've never read this many books in a year before. I probably won't do it again. It was a lot. But man, there were so many good stories in there and I hope you enjoy them. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. If you think I have something out of order, you know, share your controversial opinions with me. I'm here for it. We don't all have to agree. It's okay. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. I look forward to spending more time with you and books in 2024. I'll see you next time.